as I mentioned before, it's the fourth day here and the last day at FESPA. I must admit that I think everybody's very tired, so it's a little bit more quiet today. So I have made a few notes here, what I would like to talk about, because this is kind of an evaluation of the FESPA show. It's not just based on what I think, it's also some of the people that we've been talking to, not just exhibitors, but also some of the guests here. If you look at the show like this, you see so many products that you sometimes can't really remember what you saw at what booth. So yesterday I was looking through the exhibitor list, trying to remember what I've seen at the different locations. And one thing that comes to mind when you look at FESPA, it's more like iterations rather than revolutions that you see on the product side. And of course, it to some extent makes sense, because during the COVID, I think there's been a big change in how vendors today publish new products, because where the trade shows were the places where you really delivered on huge new products and developments, they now deliver more constantly through the year, and then use the trade shows to connect with customers, show them the products, have the relationship with, and therefore it makes sense that you have maybe more iterations than revolutions, because it's more about a timing thing. Maybe next year or next time it will be entirely different. Then another thing that I found really interesting to see also in what I refer to always as the FESPA segment is a really increased focus on automation, workflow automation. Yesterday we had a demo within Focus showing the onboarding process, how you can actually automate that process to make the experience better for both the customer and for the printing company. And this is something that is becoming more and more universal, that automation is, because, it's needed because you have faster and faster turnaround and requirements, the machines get faster. So of course you need to minimize the waste time that you might have as part of this thing. Quite important things from the show and takeaways that I believe is thing. And then the last thing for this little thing, I will be back in a second again, but there's a tendency to bigger is better. You see companies like Durst, you see companies like Hanglory, you see companies like Fujifilm really building up machines that are really going into the very large format of things. So bigger is better in the sense that is something that you continue to see. Then I also think that the sustainability agenda, you see it everywhere, from recycling, from cradle to all the things that of course is a part of the agenda that we can simply not dismiss the fact that of course customers will require more and more products and a more sustainable and a defined life cycle of not only the products and the substrates, but also how the machines are built. The last thing is that I see partnerships. I wouldn't say that people are not very open-minded in the industry to partner, but it seems that it's a clear tendency for more and more partners. We spoke to Jens Hermann from Psycho yesterday, and basically we also spoke to the Epson guys, and basically both of them produces inkjet printheads, and rather than just putting them in their own machines, now they of course, like with Fujifilm, like with Ricoh, with Kyocera, see the printheads being used in more and more applications, more and more machines, and not only because they want to sell, but also because the increased development cost of these technologies require a lot of investments, and therefore of course you need to share the revenue, making sure that these things are happening. Let's take a short break and find another location. We are actually just here behind us. We have the HP booth. HP is one of the gold sponsors of FESPA. They have a really nice booth where you showcase, of course, the product. This time we didn't have the opening session with quite some noise here this morning with Mark Ryan. Mark Ryan, it's very obvious that a lot of people have been waiting for the opportunity to get back and show the equipment, meet people, meet prospects, meet customers, all those kind of things. And I would say that it has been also fantastic from our perspective to meet people and have that opportunity. But I can't help think about, because it's still like when you go to trade shows, it is a question about the ROI. How much money can you justify these investments? If you look at booths like this, it must cost shitload of money to do. So, talking about that, ROI is not so much about volume of visitors. It's actually orders that is important, of course, but it's also about the quality of the people visiting a trade show like this. And I would say that We actually spoke about it just a few hours ago here with my team, that it's not been that crowded. We have not got any official numbers yet. We're told by Imogen from FESPA that we will get the numbers within the next couple of weeks, and it will be interesting to see how many visitors has been here. We also kind of discussed that there's some more like dense hours. So from around 10, 11, it starts at 10, but from 11 maybe to like 1, maybe 2 o'clock, it was much more dense in the visitors. The first day was not so well visited. The 2 other days were quite well visited, and now it's the opening of the third day. And as you can see, there's not so many people here, but I mean, it's still like a few hours before the show closes. So of course, there's a lot of opportunities for people to get back here. As I mentioned before, the partnerships and how you develop a relationship with customers is of course tremendously important, the partnership among the OEMs. But I also see a tendency that when you sell equipment, it's not just about selling a box. It's building a relationship, a lasting relationship where you have a long-term relationship in base of that you invest in a platform, you invest in INKISH, you invest in future development of solutions in order to make sure that you get really a value for money over a long time of investment, basically. So I think that's it for now. We have one more little spot in a moment, but let's see if we can find another place to do it in, right? Everything good come to an end, and we are about to finish our live streaming here from FESPA. And of course, two things we have to talk about, or we want to talk about as part of the coverage, is that, of course, car wrapping is still very hot. Here in Hall 25, there's a lot of there's a World Wrap Masters over here. You see a really cool wrapping here. You see wrapping of Teslas and Golfs and everything. And as we talk about, Jan and me, it was like, okay, the next car, maybe we should get it wrapped. I mean, it looks cool, and it has a lot of advantages when it comes to also making sure that you can return your leasing car in a better shape. The last thing I also want to mention is that we see a tremendous interest in textile, garment, t-shirt printing in basically all the halls. If we go to Hall 27, that's a place where you have Kornit and Aeon, Brother, and you see a lot of substrates within both cotton and within synthetic, like polyester-based textiles. And it's amazing to see, because basically what you see also as a trend is faster machines, but you also see machines that have, let's say, more higher color density, so it makes really cool looking t-shirts. And it's just amazing to see how the agenda that also Kornit has been talking about in the interviews we've done with them these days, the sustainability agenda from having less waste, less water. Basically, you only produce whatever you need, and that is, it is part of the everything in the world, and that is also what you see here. From our side, I just want to say thank you very much to my wonderful team, Jan, Giga, and Henrik. We have been covering FESPA, in our opinion, quite intense here during the past days. We have spent some time getting to know some new equipment. We have learned our lessons, so we basically will try to make it a little bit better for carrying the heavy equipment when we go to Printing United in October. And basically try always to be up to speed with the latest and newest way of making the industry come to you when you can't be here yourself. So my name is Morten, I'm the editor of INKISH, so thank you very much for this time, and checking out from FESPA Berlin 22.